Welcome back to TMO. I'm your host, Jason Hamby, with special guest Johnny Jackson. This is the World Series edition of Take Me Out to the Podcast. It's the best podcast that we have of the year. And I got Johnny Jackson with me, the one and only Dodgers fan. Johnny, how are you doing today?
A little sad, but if the Dodgers are gonna lose, just let the Braves win. Let's just let them win. I'm wearing an Oakland jersey just because I can't stand to look at a Dodgers jersey right now, but it's going good.
You know what? In Game 5 of the NLDS, y'all against the Giants, I was thinking to myself who I would rather face. We had already clinched. And honestly, everybody was saying, Giants, a lot of Braves fans. I was like, you know what, though? It might be tougher to play the Dodgers, but beating them would be even more satisfying than beating the Giants by 100 times just because of what they've done to us, what they did to us last year, what they did to us Juan Uribe in that NLDS. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. Oh.
When he missed the bunt and we just hung him a slider and he went deep to win the game. Oh, my gosh, that was very hard for me. But nevertheless, I was able to witness it, Game 6 in Atlanta with my dad, and that made it even sweeter. But I'll start here. Some pitching decisions in the divisional round against the Giants by Dave Roberts seem to have had a huge effect on the CS. Yes or no?
I would agree. I think also just one of the bigger things was bringing Julio in Game 2. For like pretty much no Game 2 of the NLCS, just for pretty much no reason. A one-run game. Trinan gave up a walk-off Game 1, like that happens. It's a close game. It's anyone can win that game. But bringing your starter, it's not like you have your Kershaw or even another starting pitcher, or if Gonsolin was good. You have 3 starters and you need them to be able to cover as many innings as possible. Max Scherzer was dealing with like dead arm pretty much the whole playoff run. So bringing him out of the bullpen, like, I don't know. Dave Roberts, I mean, it feels like a little bit of overmanaging, but also like the bats just didn't play. And, credit to the Braves, credit to Tyler Matzik. I mean, Game 6, just man on second and third, no outs, striking out the side. Including, I think, Chris Taylor and Mookie Betts. No, he struck out Pujols. I forget who was in between Pujols and Betts, but that was the most dominant relief appearance I think I've ever seen. And, immediately after that, I said the Braves deserved to win this series. They deserved to win. They were the better team. They played better the entire series. If the Dodgers win, it is just someone the Braves did something really stupid and invoked like the karmic wrath of God.
Yeah, that'd be something. So, like you said, Scherzer pitches Game 5 out of the pen to close the game to send you out to the CS, and that was pretty much it for him. I mean, other than the little bit he pitched in, was it Game 2, right? Yeah, he was out of the game quick, probably 75, 80 pitches, done in the 4th inning. And that was it. It wasn't able to start Game 6, so they had to start Buehler on short rest, 3 days rest. It just seems like that and the Urias pitching him in 2, really, that was it. I mean, by the Game 6, we had seen every bullpen arm that y'all had 4 times. We had seen every single one 4 out of the 5 games. And no matter how good your bullpen is, and y'all's is very good, I mean, when hitters get to see, especially a bullpen guy's stuff that much, I mean, it led to what it did. And it's crazy that both bullpens on both sides didn't give up more runs. And I think the offense our offense after the 4th inning in Game 6, nothing. We had plenty of opportunities, but the Dodgers made big pitches in big situations. Same thing with the Dodgers. They had a couple, especially in the 7th, had that big opportunity. But in the 8th and 9th, it was shut down. Matzik came back out, and then Will Smith in the 9th. And they had seen Matzik every single game. Matzik pitched in every game of the NLCS. And it's shocking to me that the offenses weren't able to put up more. And I think for both teams, I mean, both teams very injury riddled. I mean, the series is completely different. If the Dodgers have Justin Turner, if they have Max Muncy, who I think is their best player, especially in the playoffs. Here, I'll ask you this, because Max Muncy, if he's the best player in the playoffs, you say, but isn't the best player always going to be Mookie Betts? Okay, Mookie Betts was kind of bad last NLCS against us. I don't know what his stats were in the World Series last year, and he really didn't do a whole lot this NLCS. What were your thoughts on him?
Mookie Betts, I mean, he played like pretty much hurt all year. So not that it's like a wash of a season. He was still pretty good. I mean, he was insane in the division series against the Giants. It kind of felt like it did last World Series, where you look at the games the Dodgers lose. He's like 1 for 4 with a single, maybe 0 for 4 with like a strikeout or two. And the games they win, he's like, 3 for 4 with like a homer, 4 for 4 with a double and a stolen base. It's just, it's not saying bad, but it just kind of makes sense. If your leadoff hitter, if your best hitter probably is doing well, you're probably going to win. And if your best hitter and leadoff hitter goes 0 for 4, you're probably going to lose. I mean, that's just kind of how it works. That's why they play 70 games.
Right. Yeah, it just seemed like there was no, like last year. So last year in the NLCS, every single game, every single bullpen inning, man, I felt like I was scared to death if we ever had a lead. Just I'm looking up and down the line, and I'm literally like, dude, like, where are we going to get an out? Where are we going to get an out? We can't get an out. No matter how we pitch y'all, every count was deep. I mean, it was a walk, it was a single. I mean, it was a bomb, whatever. This year, and I know a lot of those players are the same, but without Turner, Muncy, and Betts not being as scary, I felt a lot more comfortable. Now, you can only be so comfortable as a Braves fan when you have any type of a lead. So I wasn't that comfortable, but I was a little bit more comfortable. And I had to. So Dave Roberts, after the game, he's talking about, winning 106 games, that tied the franchise record for the Dodgers, and didn't go to the World Series, didn't have a chance to repeat. He said it wasn't washed, but he's supposed to say that. You're a fan, you can say whatever you want. Was the season lost?
In terms of like the grand scheme of things, probably. But I think just the type of fan I am. I literally walked in the Braves series. I was like, honestly, they beat the Giants. I don't really care what happens now. Because they won last year. I want other teams to win. The Braves, I mean, credit to Alex Anthopoulos and Brian Snitker. I mean, they had a very easy out to just give up on the season and to trade all their 1-year contracts away. They didn't. They bought at the deadline. It was good ownership, good management, and they're in the World Series, and they're up in the World Series. That is insane. Without Acuna, without Soroka, now without Charlie Morton they had 3 innings of Charlie Morton in the World Series. That is an insane hurdle to jump over. But yeah, the biggest thing for me in the playoffs was seeing Cody Bellinger be good again, because he broke his arm, he broke his shoulder, broke a rib, broke a leg in the season. And he sucked. He was like the worst hitter in baseball, but he hit over 300 in the playoffs. So I feel good about him going into the future.
Yeah. So, I mean, definitely with Cody, you have to have those guys who are locked up kind of give you, it was good to see him, especially because of the fact that, and this is why I think it was a little bit of a lost season for the Dodgers, is because there's the potential that this is a completely different team next season. So if all those guys come back and you still got, so Kershaw's free agent, Scherzer's a free agent, Trey Turner is a free agent. I'm forgetting at least one. Chris Taylor, I believe, is a free agent. I believe I'm forgetting another big piece. Does Justin Turner still have one more year? Because did he sign a 1 or 2 year deal?
Both of the Turners have another year. Seager's out. Kenley Jansen's out. A bunch of the relievers are out. Yeah, Chris Taylor's out. I think Austin Barnes only has another year too. But yeah, it's like I think there's like at least 8 or 9 notable free agents that are just gone.
Right.
Kershaw too. Kershaw is technically a free agent in like a week. That is terrifying for me.
Yeah, especially for you. But yeah, so like I said, if all these guys were back and had another year, okay, can't win every year. Y'all be back next year, but you can't exactly be comfortable saying that if you're a Dodgers fan, just because obviously y'all will have the capacity to sign most of these players, but signing all is pretty much out of the question. We can state that now. And so though, I mean, it's got to be tough for them. They're going to have to pick and choose which guys to bring back, and all of them are good. Dodgers fans like all of these guys. Do you think they'll have what do you think will play out in free agency? Do you think they'll try to bring back the majority, or they'll let some walk and try to bring other guys to fill in that void? Because the biggest thing that I noticed from this playoffs is that really letting go of Kike, and even though they could have kind of gave him chump change compared to relative to what they gave a lot of other guys, that hurt. They really could have. I mean, he would have been their probably second or third best hitter in the playoffs, especially with what he did for the Red Sox.
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing is, and it's the same for like Kike, is the same for like Jock. It's a similar spot where Chris Taylor's at and where the Dodgers are at with Corey Seager. It's like, I mean, Corey Seager's obviously head and shoulders above the rest of them. But if you're Chris Taylor, I mean, do you take a little bit less money to play for, one of the best teams in baseball where, one bad month and he's on the bench, he doesn't play. Whereas he could go to a slightly worse team, a slightly less stacked team like Jock did with the Cubs, like Kike did with the Red Sox, and play every day, make more money, period, because you're an everyday player, and then have the chance to make a lot more money after that, showing what you can do for a full 162. I mean, it's a very hard position to be in because, especially for a lot of these guys, Chris Taylor is 28, 29. Corey Seager is like 28, 29. This is really their only shot to make a lot of money. And that's, not even getting into the whole CBA discussion, all these reports that there's going to be a work stoppage come December 2nd. I mean, baseball's not in a great spot. And I'll be honest, if I was a player, I'm setting my family up for life before I, worry about these super rings or whatever, even if you're, a guy who does a short-term, 2 or 3 year deal, set that family up for life.
I think that you made a great point about Chris Taylor, and especially in the fact that, I don't know what he's making right now, but considering that 2 or 3 years ago, I'm not really sure how many people knew who he was. And he was this utility guy who kind of continued to work and to build to where he's at. Has taken his whole career to get to here. That's especially a guy who's going to want to just go get that money. And I mean, if I'm the Dodgers, these are the guys that just somehow find a knack to win you games in the postseason. So you got to go pay Chris Taylor his, 12, 13, $14 million a year, even if he's only worth 10, according to you, whatever. These guys just, I mean, they just find a way. It's not always, the big names. It's always, I mean, the guys who have a knack for the postseason like he does continue that. And this was exactly what we saw with Kike. Kike, I mean, he didn't play. He wasn't an everyday player, but when he found his way into lineups, even when he pinch hit, just like it's the same with Jock. They just have a feel for playoff October baseball for some reason, and they just always seem to get hot then. That normally continues. And that'll probably, I mean, for the Dodgers, be scared if you ever have to face Chris Taylor in the playoffs next year, or if he's in the playoffs in any capacity, because y'all will just be regretting it again. So we'll move over to Kike's team and the team that the Astros defeated in 6 games. The Astros went to the World Series. After Game 3, Red Sox are up 2-1 and are just mashing the baseball. I mean, just seems like the Astros just can't get them out. And the weird thing, they're down 2-1, and then they lose McCullers, and you're thinking, uh-oh, like for the Red Sox, this is not good. But Zach Greinke comes in and gives them valuable innings. Luis Garcia, the rookie, has been phenomenal all year. He was phenomenal again. What sticks out to you most about this Astros team?
I mean, I think it's like it sounds like a really like stupid because I like analytics a lot, but it's just like the grit, you know. Um, Alex Cora is just a fantastic manager. I don't think anyone can say he's not a great manager, but so is Dusty Baker. And you know, one of the greatest criticisms of him in the past is that he hasn't been the best at managing a bullpen in a playoff series. Um, but it's like you look at it, I don't think I watched a good amount of that series. I didn't watch every game, but I don't think I watched a game of that series like I do with the Dodgers sometimes and being like, why is he in to face these guys? You know, there wasn't a point where I was like, this is the right move. You know, even if it doesn't work out, you know, Kendall Graveman is disgusting. Presley's nasty. Christian Javier, just, just insane. But also like the Red Sox, I mean, they didn't really have a like phenomenal pitching staff. You know, Houck, Pavetta, Garrett Whitlock were great, but Chris Sale's coming off Tommy John. And, you know, you've seen guys have Tommy John. That first 6 months when they come back, they just don't really look as crisp as you'd like. And, you know, the Astros had the better roster and they won the series. I mean, that's pretty much how it goes.
Yeah. I think for the Red Sox, it's always tough when you're a fan of a team like that. You know, they always have high expectations, but they really blew it out of the water, in my opinion, this year. Anything they did, I mean, at the beginning of the year, I did not have them as a playoff team. They didn't exceed expectations to the extent of the Giants, but few teams can ever even do that. I mean, that was a team that we were like, okay, well, they win 80 games, and then they win 107. So it wasn't to that extent. When you look at the Red Sox, you're like, okay, might be the fourth best team in that division behind the Yankees, Blue Jays, and Rays. And then they go to they're 2 wins away from the World Series. And they had guys get hot at the right time. But it was kind of that thing. It was in the American League, you had to outscore the other team. In the National League, you had to outpitch them. That's what we saw in the divisional rounds, especially, and in the CS. But I think, and we'll jump into the World Series now, for all 7 games, which I have it going 7 games, I think it's going to be lean for the other team. They're going to have to change their, so I don't even know how to put it, but the Braves are going to have to outscore when they've been out pitching. In the Dodgers series, they outpitched. They didn't put up a lot of runs, but they're going to have to outscore the Astros, and that's got to be the mentality as offense. It's the vice versa for the Stros. They outscored the Red Sox. They put up 6 runs a game. They have to outpitch, especially without McCullers. They have to outpitch the Braves. So coming into the series, did you have a prediction for this one?
I thought the Astros were going to win in 6 or 7. I thought that Framber Valdez would be better than he was. Yeah, but I mean, the Braves bullpen is very good for the first 4 or 5 guys. And then after that, it's kind of not great. Luke Jackson last night, also just a big real comeback appearance for him, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
AJ Minter, 2 2/3, 3 strikeouts. I mean, Braves bullpen threw almost 7 innings and only give up 2 runs. That is pretty much all you can ask for, especially in a playoff game. But a couple things for the Astros. I mean, they hit 2 balls in the later innings that looked like they probably would have gone out in most other parks. I mean, the Astros don't quit. Altuve, Correa, and Bregman all went hitless. Altuve 0 for 5, 3 strikeouts. I mean, do I think that'll happen every game? No. I think I'm with you. I think the Astros probably end up getting the win in like 6 or 7. I know there's a whole cheating scandal, whatever, but man, do I want Dusty Baker to win a ring. I really want it before he retires. I want it so bad.
If it was against a lot of other teams, obviously, I wouldn't mind it. If he was coaching another team that hadn't cheated to get the World Series, then I wouldn't mind it. I said Braves in 7 from the start. Obviously, last night it was a late game, so some people might not have been able to see it yet. The Braves took it 6-2, got into an early lead. So Larry had a leadoff bomb. I think the story here, though, is how much did this win cost the Braves? And that is because Charlie Morton, in the second inning, there was a comebacker. It wasn't, like 100 off the bat. I mean, it wasn't, a stinger. and it just hit Charlie Morton, I guess, right in the right spot. And what they're actually saying is, so he finished the inning. That was the second out of the inning. It bounced right off his leg to Freddie Freeman. They get the second out. He finishes the inning. They take an X-ray in the middle of the inning. It looks like he's done. We're starting to get the bullpen loose. And apparently what they said after is those X-rays were negative, which is bizarre because he actually went out. Surprised me that he went back out. Altuve faces Altuve, strikes him out in a curveball and kind of falls, like trips after the pitch. Takes him out of the game. Now the X-ray is positive for a fractured right fibula, which is just crazy to me to think that comebacker, if it would have been the comebacker alone, that would have been crazy. But the fact, because it wasn't that hard of a hit, but then it's the fact that it wasn't even fractured until that point, that he went back out there and pitched and then did it. It's kind of bizarre to me. But like I said, huge loss for the Braves, nonetheless.
Yeah, and I think the mark of a good team, the mark of a great team that really has gotten to the World Series and has a good chance to win it at this point is winning a game when everything goes wrong. I think that's a pretty good summation, because now Kyle Wright and Drew Smyly have to get starts in the World Series. That is a thing that is going to happen now. So, I mean, if you're the Braves, you kind of have to rely a little bit more on Max Fried and Ian Anderson. But Morton also being out means that those lower tier bullpen guys are going to get more innings. So the Braves offense is really going to need to step it up if they're going to win 3 of these next 6 games.
Johnny, do you remember the last time Kyle Wright pitched in the postseason?
I do very much.
Let me set the scene. Let me see the scene, please.
Okay.
So I am in Arlington, Texas with 3 of my buddies. We have just gone to game 1 and 2. The Braves win both. I'm on top of the world. We're supposed to leave that morning, head back to Orlando. Everything's online, so we're not missing anything. We said, why don't we try to scalp tickets for game 3 and just sit wherever, get them right before the game. So we're trying. Game time, we finally get tickets. We got a decent deal and got a pretty good seat. Johnny, by the time I sat in my seat, it was 7-0.
I remember texting you. I was like, hey, did you guys end up staying for game 3? Did you guys get tickets? And you're like, I don't want to talk about it.
You did text me. I remember that. The first inning had just ended, and I had been sitting down for maybe a minute, and here comes Johnny, just like, and it wasn't on purpose because you were just actually wondering, but it was such like, y'all ended up getting tickets, and I was just like, man, I wish I was on the way back to Orlando, because now I got to sit through this rest of because I can't leave.
Oh no.
I literally just got here. Now it's 11-0. I can't leave, and now I have to drive back through the night. It was something, and that was all thanks to Kyle Wright, who he's been a top prospect for years, and one of those guys. He came along right with Ian Anderson, Max Fried, and Soroka. They're all right there, this pretty much the same age. Same with Bryce Wilson, who pitched phenomenal in kind of intermittent time in the NLCS last year. We dealt him to the Pirates because he struggled at the beginning of the year. All 5 of these guys kind of came up at the same time, all had very similar expectations. Kyle Wright's been the one who hasn't had really any success at the major league level, but he's really the best option when you have to fill a spot on the roster, and his stuff is there. It's whether he can throw strikes and just kind of, not put it down the middle. I mean, every fastball that he threw in that NLCS was center cut, and the Dodgers didn't miss it. So I'm terrified for when he takes them out. And that's like, I'm sad to say that because, I want to trust everybody that we put out there. And I don't want to certainly have a vendetta against the guy. But last time you pitched, you gave up 11 runs in an inning, and you didn't make it out of the first. Yeah.
Another thing that's a little bit more interesting is Ian Anderson hasn't really gone too deep into games because he's had like Fried in front of him and Morton behind him. So they've had that luxury. Game 6 at NLCS, I think he only went 3 innings, right? Something like that.
He did. He pitched 4.
4? Yeah. Like.
Wait, no. You're right. Because Eddie Rosario hit the bomb, and we pinch hit Eddie Adrianza for Ian in the third. Yeah, he pitched 3, and I think in game 3 he pitched
Through 4, maybe 3 or 4.
He threw 4.
Yeah, no, Snicker's gonna have to leave him in. Which I mean, Ian Anderson is a phenomenal pitcher. He's been lights out pretty much every playoff appearance he's ever had. But yeah, he's gonna have to try and get through that 5th or 6th inning if the Braves want a chance to win. Or you can just try and punt the game Kyle Wright starts and just hope your bats keep you in the game. I mean, I'm very happy I'm not Brian Snicker right now. I'm not gonna lie to you. That is a very tough spot to be in as a manager.
Yeah, and especially as good as the Astros offense has been. I mean, Jordan Alvarez. How long are you going to keep him under wraps? I know he had a double that was just missed being a homer, and like you said, Gurriel hit one that was literally probably a foot from being a home run. This Astros team is gonna hit. They averaged six a game against the Red Sox. The Braves only averaged like 3.5, 4 against the Dodgers. Like I said, it was 2 different kind of games, but they're going to hit, and that's why I said we have to outscore them. We have to. I mean, Freddie's got to get hot. We need him big time, dude. If Eddie Rosario, just like this is why Alex Anthopoulos deserves whatever it's called, Executive of the Year, because this guy was hurt and hitting like 220. And he was going to continue to be on the disabled list for 3 more weeks. We still traded for him, and he almost single-handedly won us the NLCS. Him plus Matzik in the bullpen won it for us. We haven't even Braves fans haven't really brought this up. OZZIE ALBIES has been bad. Struck out 3 times in Game 6, twice in Game 5. Really, I don't know if he's had an extra base hit off the top of my head in the CS. He has more than one extra base hit. Even from the right side, he struggled. Which, I mean, as Braves fans, we said, as soon as OZZIE gets to hit right-handed, he's going to hit a double. I mean, obviously he rakes right-handed. Unbelievable.
And he got tacos. He got us tacos.
He did get us tacos last night. I got to take advantage of that. Buddy, I haven't been to Taco Bell in years. Are we going together or what?
I'm down to go to Taco Bell. Every time I go to Taco Bell, I think, wow, I'll give another shot. Every time I come home, I'm like, wow, that was a terrible idea.
Instant regrets.
It's kind of like Waffle House, where like you never set out on like a trip and you're like, I'm going to Waffle House or I'm going to Taco Bell. You just kind of end up there at some point because you're doing something stupid, but it's there.
Wow, that's hilarious. You walk out of there feeling like you got taken advantage of.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, I mean, at least OZZIE did one thing for us. But, yeah, they got to get him hot. You can't count on him just for tacos. We got to get some extra base hits and some bombs out of him, or else this is going to go – I feel like this is going to go 7. I really do. And especially because we won and Charlie went out. Both of those things really point to this game going as far as it can, or the series going as far as it can. So I'll stick with my prediction. I'm not ever going to be comfortable saying Braves any less than 7. You're going to hate me for this. I typed up a GoFundMe last night. I have yet to post it, but I'm really considering putting it up for some miracle donor to send me to the World Series and get me a ticket. Because
why would I ever be mad about that? Absolutely do that. What are you talking about?
This is just a little bit soft, GoFundMe is kind of, you know what? We're probably going to do it
for those games. The Braves ticket prices start at like $1,000.
Standing room only, Johnny.
Yeah,
900.
It's no. We need a GoFundMe. We need like a program-wide GoFundMe, a worldwide GoFundMe. Because I'll be honest,
I set it up. I just never posted.
I do not have the facilities to pay $1,000 for a baseball ticket. That's just not happening.
And what's strange is that the Astros. So a nosebleed for the Braves 3, 4, and 5 is going to be like $1,150 or $1,200. I looked last night. Astros tickets. And I looked probably an hour for the game, and nosebleed you can get one for $640, $650. So I think obviously that's because the Braves is on the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. More people can go. But really, number 2 would be we haven't been there since '99. The Astros have been there, 2 of the last 4 years. But third, and it's still though a little soft from the Astros fans. And what I think is phenomenal, and I've seen the graphics and the memes, is that you have Houston, everybody,
everyone else, and a little bit of Delaware, All right,
a little bit of Delaware.
Yeah, did you not see it? There's a little bit of Delaware in there.
Why is Delaware rooting for the Astros?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Really?
I don't know. Delaware is a weird place. Delaware is interesting.
They go to Taco Bell way too much. That's probably why. Anyway, everybody's rooting for us. It's a good feeling. I didn't even know you probably couldn't even see it. I'm rocking this the whole time. We got Georgia, Florida this Saturday.
Oh yeah.
I'm going. Obviously, it's my hometown. It's in Jacksonville every year. I'm going, and I have to beat that traffic to see the first pitch of Game 4, and I won't miss it. So everybody, if you're on the road, if you're on the Matthews Bridge in Jacksonville around 7:30 on Saturday, watch your lips because I'm coming through, and I'm not missing the World Series, especially if I have to watch it on TV, which it sounds like I will.
Yeah.
So I can't miss Georgia, Florida.
No, you can't.
I got to get to a game, Johnny. this go. We got to get it off the ground. We got to get it off the ground. Wow. So yeah, GoFundMe, Taco Bell, Braves are on top. Georgia's number 1. Life's good right now, and we will be back we're gonna do after the Game 7 or whenever the series ends. We'll throw up another one. Hopefully it'll be me carrying my Braves flag that's right over there and flying high like I've never flown before, considering none of my teams have ever won a championship in anything. So hopefully it's that. And I'll just say right now, if it's not, Johnny Jackson is going to be your host. And
I'll bring some Taco Bell. I'll bring it for the cameras. And that's all I'm here for.
There we go. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out, depending on how this series goes. Depends on who your host is for the next podcast. But nonetheless, we will be back after the conclusion of the World Series, and we'll be excited to talk about it. Hopefully it'll be me. Hopefully it'll be Ryan High. And it's gonna happen. Johnny, it's finally gonna happen.
I hope it does.
Man, how many prayers would be answered with that with a win of this World Series? I would just go in the streets. My whole apartment would know. I would be just extremely upset with me, be getting called from whoever, RA, whatever.
My whole neighborhood knew last year when the Dodgers won. It's okay.
Oh yeah, dude. If my whole neighborhood knew when Georgia beat Oklahoma in overtime. That wasn't even the national championship. Think about if the Braves won the World Series. All of Orlando's gonna know. But anyway, we gotta get out of here. I gotta contain myself because the excitement is just about off the hooks. So yeah, we'll see you in about a week or so after the conclusion of the World Series. As always, I'm your host, hopefully next time as well, Jason Hamby, and this has been special guest Johnny Jackson. Johnny, as always, thanks for being on with us, and we'll see you after the World Series. Go Braves.